Welcome to Duval Street Pocket Park, located in Key West, Florida. This is going to be quite the adventure today. My first Key West trip. As you can see off into the distance is the buoy, the Conch Republic, the southernmost tip of the continental U.S. This is going to be so awesome. Good morning, my friends. Welcome back to the channel. Hitchhiking Yeti here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I got me some coffee this morning. This is called Cuban Coffee Queen. I actually got the Cuban American. That's what they call this, 12 ounce. Had to wait in line a little bit. Very popular coffee location here in town. But today we're going to walk around town. We're going to look at some of the historic places, talk a little bit about the history of the town of Key West, and we're going to get into the numbers. You know, income, crime, things like that. And just have an awesome Key West day. Thank you for hanging out with me. Let's go ahead and get started. So this buoy right here is not the original location, but to be honest with you, I think this position right here seems like it might be a little bit closer to Cuba than the original location. I will take you over there and check that out. They're actually doing a renovation project on the original location where this buoy would normally set. So let's go over there and check that out a little bit. Fun fact, if you want to take a picture in front of the buoy, definitely show up early in the morning, before 9 o'clock, because this is not bad at all. Because if you look ahead right here, you see where this trash truck is backing up. The line yesterday evening was backed up past that around 5 o'clock. So yeah, if you want a shorter line, just come early in the morning, you can get it done. And I gotta say, I absolutely love the architecture to all the buildings and the homes that I have seen so far here in Key West. It is absolutely beautiful. So awesome. But right now I'm on South Street, and we're just gonna walk down here. I wanna show you the original location of the buoy that's been so famous over the years, and just show you what the construction project looks like. So this is going to be definitely a construction update for people who come down here maybe yearly or whatnot, just in case you do not know. If you do show up down here to take a picture with the famous buoy, it is all boarded up at the moment. Okay, so we're definitely getting close to the original location, because you can see the little stickers on the ground, the remnants of the stickers that they used to have placed out here in 2020 or 2021 when you had to be 6 feet away from everyone. But right here is the location of the original buoy. And from everything that I read, it is coming back. It's just in 2026, it's going to be quite the refurbishment process going on where the original buoy used to set. But for now, you just go up there at that park where I started my vlog off, Pocket Park, and you can get your pictures there. And to be honest with you, I don't know 100% if it's factual or not, but the buoy over there in the park feels a little bit further south than the buoy right here. So I don't know, when you look at it on Google Maps, I think if you come down now and take a picture over there near the pier, I think that's actually a little bit further south. So you might be getting one up on somebody when they say, hey, have you ever been to the buoy? You say, yeah. When did you go? And they said, oh, I went 3 or 4 years ago. And you're like, well, I've really been to the furthest point to the south. If you're super competitive, you just gotta love the vibe. Everybody here pretty much rides bicycles. I mean, there is, you know, people golf carting it too, I'm sure locals, but man, there's so many people on bicycles, which just is awesome. It's very flat ground, so it's not like it's a difficult pedal, you know. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit about some of the history of Key West. It really is neat because it dates all the way back to the 1500s. So Juan Ponce de Leon, you've heard of him before. He was a famous Spanish explorer, and he actually explored the Keys in 1513 while searching for the Fountain of Youth, which I think is pretty cool. We all know where the Fountain of Youth is, right? It's in St. Augustine, Florida. Wink, wink, nod, nod. So Spain officially claimed Florida, including Key West, but paid little attention to the island itself. In 1763, Britain briefly controlled Florida and then returned it to Spain in 1783. So Key West was actually established back in the early 1800s here in the United States. 1822 to be exact, businessman John Simonton purchased Key West and brought it under U.S. control. The island officially became part of the United States, setting the stage for rapid growth. So once Key West was established, it really thrived as a wrecking capital of the world. Residents salvaged cargo from ships wrecked on nearby reefs, completely legal at the time. And by the mid-1800s, Key West was the richest city per capita in the U.S. Okay, and this right here is a very common thing you will see around Key West. You will definitely see some chickens and roosters flogging through the streets, crowing, scavenging for things to eat. And they're very, very friendly, very friendly. It's not like the old chickens that my grandma once had, that's for sure. And look at this old relic right here. This thing's been through a hurricane or two. That is for sure. That overhang up there looks kind of scary, like it might be falling in anytime now, which I want to talk a little bit about the late 1800s and the cigar boom of Key West. So in the late 1800s, Cuban immigrants turned Key West into a major cigar manufacturing hub. At its peak, over 100 Cuban factories operated here on the island. Labor disputes eventually pushed much of the industry to Tampa, and they left Key West. So by the early 1900s, the cigar industry actually collapsed. The overseas railroad was completed in 1912, connected Key West to the mainland, and that briefly revived the economy. After the railroad's destruction in the 1935 Labor Day hurricane, tourism slowly replaced the industry of cigar making. Okay, I've made my way over here to the old Key West Lighthouse. This lighthouse was originally built in 1848 to help guide ships through the dangerous Florida Straits and the reef system. Early versions used 15 oil lamps with reflectors, not a powerful single bulb like the modern lighthouses of today. All right, I've made my way over here to the corner of Whitehead Street and Truman Avenue. And right there is one of the contour trains that you can pay, and they'll take you around town and give you some history. I like old schooling it. I like to just go on foot and learn as I go. So let's talk a little bit about population of this town of Key West. Population is 24,495 souls with a median age of 42.1 years. All right, now let's take a quick look at demographics. 78.55% is white, 13.38% is black, 1.76% is Asian, 0.22% is American Indian, 0.09% is Native Hawaiian, and then 2.60% is mixed race, and then 3.4% is other race. And now let's look at income. Income per capita here in Key West is $47,423, which is well above Florida's $27,598 and the national at $29,829. The median household income is $73,029, which once again is well above the Florida's $48,900 and the national at $55,322. Then when we look down a little bit further, let's look at poverty rate here in town. It's only 10.8%, which is well below. So this is a very thriving little town all these years later. And it's kind of funny, earlier we was talking about the early history, how it used to be the top per capita United States town when it comes to money. So now let's talk about crime. The crime here in Key West is 2.6 per 1,000 people, or 2,612 per 100K, which is a little above, definitely higher than the Florida average at 1.6 per 1,000. And it's also a little bit higher than the national average, where it's at 2.1 per 1,000 people. And then when we look down to violent crimes, it's only 352 per 100,000, which is not a huge number. It is still slightly below the national, but then it is a little bit higher than the Florida average at 267. So we will put that in percentages. This is what it's going to look like. Total crime is actually 23% above the national average. The violent crime is actually 2% below, which is right on par. And then property crime is 28% above the national average. Okay, so right here, as you see this line of people waiting to get inside of this property, this is the Ernest Hemingway house. And Hemingway actually lived here from 1931 to 1939. He was a writer, an artist. He wrote parts of A Farewell to Arms, Death in the Afternoon, and For Whom the Bell Tolls while living here in Key West. The famous six-toed cats actually are here on the property still to this day. It was, the six-toed cats was from Hemingway's original cat called Snow White, given to him by a ship captain. About 40 to 60 cats still roam the property today. Many cats are named after famous people, not just writers. Hemingway's tradition would always name the cats like famous people. So Snow White was pretty famous. You know, it was a Disney character, so pretty cool. All right, so let's go ahead and walk on around the side of the house and see if we can see anything over there, because I have not ventured over there yet. So I made my way over here to Olivia Street, and there is no way to really peek in to the Hemingway home. It just tells you in that direction, but this here is the wall. That is just a rooster. Never mind him, he just wanting some camera time. But there's a lot of vegetation and growth on the property, so you really can't see very much at all. You can kind of see people like walking through like a garden back there, but that's about it. Okay, you win. My gosh. Say hello to the viewers. Howdy, how you doing there? Is your name Hey Hey? You know, where's Moana at? Moana is my niece's favorite movie, so that's why I know who Hey Hey is. It's not that I sit around and watch Moana all the day long. Well, I do, but not by choice. I gotta keep her happy sometimes. So I have to tell you about this place. This is right next to the Hemingway house, and this is called Moondog Cafe and Bakery. And I'm here to tell you, if you want a good piece of key lime pie, this is where you come. We got the key lime pie last night along with a piece of cheesecake, and I think it was about the best key lime pie I've ever had in my life. So highly recommend if you come to Key West to give this place a try, because it was fabulous. Okay, so at the moment I am walking right along US 1 South. This is the road that brought me into Key West. Takes you through the overseas highway, you know, going across the Keys. Really nice drive. I made a vlog all about that. I will definitely put that in the link down in the description below in case you've never seen it. But yeah, we're gonna walk up here and I'm gonna show you where the road actually ends. And then if you turn around and go the opposite direction, it begins. And that is very celebrated and a very picturesque selfie moment in front of the signs. And also, they have stores up there that you can go in and buy t-shirts and hats, pins, magnets, celebrating. This is the end of the road, you know, so this is going to be pretty cool. This is the end of US Highway 1. Is that not cool? Look at that, it just says end right above the road. And this is like a really popular location to come and take selfies, do a little picture, just document it. And then you can just step right inside this store and buy you some items. So mile marker 0 is located right over there in front of the Zero Art store. They also have another end of the road store right across the street over there on Fleming Street. And then right here, you can come over here, and this is actually seemed to be a little bit more popular spot, but people like to go over here and take photos in front of the begin sign of Highway 1 North. But in all reality, even though that sign up there says north right now, when you're going that way, you're actually headed south toward the buoy. So, but I get it. I understand the road all together is going to take you north to Florida, but yeah, right there it is. Mile marker 0. This is where Highway 1 begins and ends. Kind of a cool thing right here in Key West. Okay, friends, I was just right over there at mile marker 0, or the end of Highway 1, and I almost missed something. Look at this tree right here. This is called the kapok tree. I want you to see the root system on this thing. Look at that. Is that not fascinating? The branches, look at that. Holy moly. This thing is sick. It is awesome. And just look, it's almost like the root system like made like a little cocoon right here. That is so bizarre. I mean, you could just hide out in there. Maybe somebody used to hide out in there and like take cover during a hurricane. Not sure. Just a joke. Just a joke. But yeah, I just wanted to show you this kapok tree. That is so cool. All right, so real quickly, I want to give you a little brief history about a kapok tree. So it is native to Central and South America, West Africa, and Caribbean, and it has been growing in tropical regions for thousands of years. Ancient Maya and other cultures considered the kapok sacred, believing it connected the underworld, earth, and the heavens. The tree's massive trunk and buttress roots made it a symbol of strength and protection. The kapok fibers from its seed pods were historically used to stuff life jackets, pillows, and mattresses because they are lightweight and water resistant. So that is pretty awesome. I have never seen a tree anything quite like this before. Okay, I gotta say, downtown Key West is just so beautiful. I mean, you can just smell money in the air here. It is just so well off. I mean, even certain places you go to is just, there's money everywhere. I mean, you just cannot get enough dollar bills. I mean, they drape them on the wall. This is called T. Willie's. And it is just coated in dollars. Look at that. I mean, heck, you could just retire. But they're just dollars just floating around all over the place. That's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. I knew I smelled sweet treats. Look at the size of these cookies here. And all that good chocolate. Oh my gosh. That looks fabulous. Look at them. Dang, if you got a sweet tooth, I think you would be satisfied. Okay, right here across the street in front of me is pretty cool. This here is the oldest house in Key West. Built in 1829 by Captain Richard Cousins, a ship carpenter, and later was occupied by the Whitelington family. Okay, I made my way over here to Caroline Street, and I want to show you this property right here. It's beautiful, but it's not the house I want you to look at. I want you to check out this right here. This is called the Pirate's Well. And this right here was the first freshwater found on the island and used by pirates in the 1700s. How cool is that? And right across the street from the Pirate's Well, you will find a location that we had dinner at yesterday. This is called Garbo's Grill. And this was an amazing little find last night. We actually got this burger called the Umami Burger, and it was delicious. It was so good, had some Gouda on it. It was very tasty. It was a thick burger, but still very juicy. And we also got the barbecue Korean tacos, and they were equally as great. So this is definitely a good place to come and get some food while you're here in Key West. Now that is pretty fascinating. This here is the birthplace of Pan American World Airways. This building was its first office on October 28, 1927. Pan American Flight Number 1 taxied down a runway in Key West, bound for Havana. This has the first United States international air service in scheduled operation. And that took place right here out of this building. This here was their offices, right here on Caroline Street in Key West. That is pretty cool. Okay, this is the next thing we're going to go check out. Look at this. Harry S. Truman, Little White House. Enter here, open daily from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Let's go back here and check out his house. I think this was like a vacation home possibly. But this is a gated community. The main gate is closed, but they do have this one where you can just walk into the community and check it out. A lot of beautiful foliage in here. Look at all the palm trees. Yeah, this is real fancy. So here is another really awesome looking tree. Look at that root system right here. My wife actually looked it up. This is called a banyan tree. And it's so wild because if you follow this limb right here, how it goes off, it sprouts and it's like it grows back down into the ground. It is the most bizarre tree I think I've ever seen. They got some wild trees down here in Key West, that is for sure. Look at that. All right, so I made my way over here to the Little White House, Harry S. Truman Vacation Home. Harry S. Truman was the 33rd president of the United States, serving from 1945 to 1953. He was the 34th vice president in 1945. He assumed the presidency upon the death of Franklin D. Roosevelt that year. Fun fact, the S in Harry S. Truman's name does not stand for a full name, but was a compromise by his parents to honor both his grandfathers, Anderson Ship Truman and Solomon Young. Look at the chickens out here clucking around in the grass. But I want to come over here. It is free to walk over here and check out the car they have on display right here at the little White House. And here it is. This is the Harry S. Truman 1950 Lincoln Cosmopolitan Presidential Limousine. As you can see, there's a plane going overhead, or you can hear it. You will hear that all day long in Key West. I don't care where you are because the airport is so close by. But yeah, that is his limo. That is sweet. Very, very nice. So it wasn't just Harry S. Truman that stayed here at this house. Also, it's a long list actually. American presidents was William Taft, Harry S. Truman, Dwight Eisenhower, John F. Kennedy, Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton. And this is also the home where Truman enacted the Civil Rights Executive Order requiring federal contractors to hire minorities. Okay, now I've made my way over here close to the cemetery here in town. I just wanted to kind of check this area out, check out the cemetery and see what the Key West Cemetery looks like while I'm here. Wow, look at that. This is a neat little neighborhood. Looks a lot different when you get back here in this community, kind of off the beaten path, that's for sure. All the houses are much smaller, just have a little bit more neighborhoody vibe to it. Yeah, what a beautiful cemetery here in Key West. And there's some very interesting ones too, because we are in the Conch Republic. Look at that. That is quite a headstone. It's a conch shell. It could be mistaken for something else, but I just let you wrap your brain around that one. Okay, so I made my way up here to the shops at Mallory Square, which is the entrance is right over here. And this here is the Mallory home site, the home of Stephen Russell Mallory, 1812 to 1873, stood near this site from 1839 to 1895 when it became the U.S. Navy property, U.S. Senator from Florida from 1851 to 1861, and Chairman of the Naval Affairs Committee in 1853. As a Secretary of the Navy in the Confederate States Cabinet, 1861 to 1865, he pioneered the use of submarines and ironclad warships in naval warfare. A son of Stephen R. Mallory Jr. grew up in and later owned this house. He represented Florida in the United States Senate from 1897 to 1908, and that is a ton of dates and information. Okay, so this building right here is called the Ocean Blue Galleries. Now this is some real cool history if you are a fan of Jimmy Buffett. Back in the day, this was called Howie's Bar, and Jimmy Buffett actually played downstairs here for $30 a night, right here in Key West. Okay, so I made my way up here to Mallory Square. This is a market area where they have all kinds of touristy stuff to see and shopping and things like that. And they have a memorial over here for the military. And this here is the docking area. So if you travel, you like to go cruising, especially with Carnival Cruise, because right there is the Carnival Dream Ship. It's in port today. This is where you would dock, and you do not have to walk far to get into some shopping and get you some Cuban coffee and stuff like that. Really had a fantastic morning walking around town, showing you guys around what I could find. I tried to hit the less touristy areas and do a little off the beaten path stuff. I have noticed since I've been here, you can definitely save some dollars on merchandise and souvenirs and stuff if you make your way further south, away from Mallory Square. We found some stuff like magnets and pins and things like that was about $3 more expensive here in the Mallory Square area, which is way more touristy because of these bad boys, these cruise ships. And so if you don't mind walking maybe 5, maybe 8 blocks further into town, down Duval Street, you will find much cheaper prices on shirts, pins, magnets, and things like that. So I just want to just throw that out there to you. You don't have to. Not everybody is into walking a whole lot. That's for sure. Everybody's got their own thing. But if you are into walking on foot, I think it's definitely worth to save a few dollars and walk a few blocks further down into Key West. All that being said, my friends, I'm done today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Until next time, I am the Hitchhiking Yeti, and I will see you in my next adventure. Y'all stay safe, and I hope to see you all again very, very soon. Very, very nice. Key West, Florida. Definitely worth the trip.